We have our newest Royal Ambassador here to provide you with some training. This gentleman's name is Anthony Powell. Anthony joined our organization 3 months ago. Anthony has a lot of experience in this industry. He's been around it for many years. He looks way too young to have been in this industry as long as he's been in it. But he has some very, very, very powerful information to share with you today. Some great advice. Get your notebooks out. Write down some notes. Absorb what he's going to share with you. Take the opportunity to expand your mind, because he's going to give you that opportunity to expand your mind, to learn, to understand, and see things maybe a little differently, some things that may work and help you out, but a way to approach the business. Anthony's rubbed shoulders with many of the legends in our industry, the great motivational speakers. Jim Rohn is a very close friend of his. There are a lot of people that he knows, that he's been associated with, and he's got a lot in that brain. So take an opportunity here. You're going to hear from him again later, but this next 4 hours, you're going to hear from Anthony, and you're going to hear from Tom and Brad. Tom, the only pinnacle in our company, hit that mark. It's fantastic. Yeah, we get a shout out for that. Brad Alkazen's going to spend some time. Y'all know what he's done and the impact he's had on this business and the things that he's brought to us and helped expand things. And then we're going to follow up, and Ruth is going to tie the day up. Ruth is, many of you know Ruth, shout out, exactly. Amazing person, and we're grateful to have them. They took time from their schedule and from the rest of their teams to be here as Royal Ambassadors and Pinnacles and Star Royal Ambassadors to share with you the things that have made them successful. There are a lot of intangibles. There's a lot of information you're going to get. So please help me give an unbelievable Vemma welcome to our newest Royal Ambassador, Anthony Powell.
Hello, Vemma! Okay, first of all, I just want to say thanks for having me. But before I get into my story, I want to see who I'm talking to. So I got to hear the excitement from the Verve you've drank this morning. So let me hear from the room over here real quick. Stand up. All right, that's it. How about over here? No, how about over here? All right, okay. So this is the big check section. Okay? So let's try this one more time. How about this side? Over here. Over here. All right. You guys are ready? Say ready. Well, first off, I'd like to say thanks to a lot of people. You know, about a year ago, a gentleman named Matt Morrow was, we were at I guess an MLM wedding. And he saw me sitting there in Newport Beach, and we started talking. And I realized he was in Vemma, and I had already been drinking Verve out of a gas station. And I absolutely loved it. And he said, oh yeah, my business is rocking. And he started telling me his story, and I just kind of put it in the back of my head that, what was happening to him. But as many of you guys may or may not know, I was in one company for 22 years. And I'll explain to you why I made a choice to come to Vemma, because one of the things that you guys are experiencing right now is massive growth, but when I started my last company, we were at 100 million. Very similar to where we are right now. And we rode that company to $1 billion in 36 months. After we hit that over that 100 million, we went straight to $1 billion. And there was a reason why we did it. And when I saw Vemma, I said, this is the next $1 billion company. There's no question about it. Then I started looking up the leadership. Tom, the Alkazens, Ruth, all the other Royal Ambassadors. I started looking at their stories, and here's what I saw. Family. I saw people that wanted to not fight with each other, but wanted to unite and take it to the next level. And it really was a moving experience seeing everyone's story and really what they wanted out of this company. And then one day, I met BK. And it was a moving experience for me because where I come from, I was personally groomed by a gentleman named Mark Hughes, Larry Thompson, Jim Rohn. I had the opportunity to be one-on-one with these people. And at 19 years old when I started, I had to be groomed because if I was so smart, I would have already been rich. But I was absolutely broke and had no direction and didn't know what to do. So I held on to my mentor, Larry, Mark, Jim Rohn, and my personal mentor. One of them was Chris Carley, a gentleman named Mark Doyle. Those two people had already made 40 million. My upline, direct upline, made about 40 million in the 80s in Herbalife. So when I met him, it wasn't about what do I have to do. I held this guy's bags until he said, stop holding my bags. I modeled him. We're going to talk about that today. But when I met BK, see, let me back up a second. We lost Mark when he was 44 years old. And when he died, it was like time stopped because I followed that man to the ends of the earth. And when he died, it was almost like the leader of who I was saluting to was gone. But the one thing that I learned after his death was this: if you model your mentor properly, you can take it to the next level because you learned the leadership skills to take it there. And that's what I really saw that we could do here together, is model each other, help each other, because everything works, and take it to that billion. And when I saw BK, immediately I felt that Mark Hughes feeling. It was like the day I signed up in the last company all over again. I actually got goosebumps because I saw a distributor for a distributor. I saw somebody that really wanted the people that signed up and got on the products to make it. And I knew that I could hang my hat here. The next question was, how can I get in the company and hang my hat? See, when I left my last company in December, I still had one of the #1 checks. It wasn't like I left with my business falling apart. I left at the top. And I don't say that to impress you, I say that to impress upon you that you've got to make sure you understand that the #1 thing for me wasn't money, it was that my little guy had an opportunity to make it. And that's the biggest thing you got to always make sure you understand. When you're building your business, you build it based on your little guy. Now, I'm going to move forward here so you can see my where I come from real quick so you understand a little bit here. There we go. We are locked up. Well, it's locked up. It's supposed to be what's your why. Someone behind stage can fast forward me real quick. I'm doing the forward button, so I'm teachable. I have apples, and I've done this for 22 years, so it's not like I'm clueless. At any rate, the first thing you got to do is ask yourself, what is your why? And we got so many different age groups in here. We've got the YPR. Let me hear it for the YPR. Okay. So I'm part of the VPR, okay? Vemma People Revolution. Okay? And you YPRs, guess what? That's where I started. And at the age of 26, I was financially retired. So you have an opportunity of a lifetime here if you just hold on. And I'm going to show you what happened to me, where I started from, and what's happened to me since. And I feel I'm going to be able to help you guys just a little bit with some leadership stuff, how we can take this company to $1 billion. And then you really have the big hitters coming after me who are going to teach us the real big next step. We'll get you. We'll get you? Okay. So the why, this is the thing I share with my group all the time. You got to have your why up on your board. Now, some of you guys do your one-on-one presentations. So this might sound corny to you, but you want to have your why in your folder. You want to have your why on your iPad. Make that dream board. When I first got going, I had a dream board of a Mercedes S500. Back then it was an S500. And I had it on my dream board so long, the body style changed twice. Okay? Then I had this dream, I wanted to have this cigarette boat, offshore boat. And I wanted to have just the weirdest things I had on my dream board, because when I was 19, what I wanted then and what I wanted now is two different things. But you got to have your dream board and you got to have your why. I know it sounds like a very, scripted thing that we all talk about, but if you don't know what your why is, then you don't really know why you're doing this business. Because you're going to hit some ups and downs, and you're going to hit some hurdles, and the why is going to get you over the top, okay? Now, the next thing you got to do, and this is the thing that I feel is very strong about when I come in here, is you got to be a product of the product, okay? You got to make sure wherever you are, you have, and the YPR, I've been watching you, you guys do a very good job at this. You have products everywhere you go. And that's the magic of the business, is making sure wherever you go, you've got products falling out of your pocket. There's one gal here, she doesn't probably remember me, but it was 4th of July. It's a brunette gal. I think she's rocking in the business, maybe under Alex. But I live in Scottsdale. And I was going into Starbucks on 4th of July in Scottsdale, and I see about 5 YPRs outside of Starbucks with cans of Verve on the table, and she was pitching them all. And she was super strong about it and determined, and I looked at that and I went, this is going somewhere. On 4th of July, in front of Starbucks, selling Verve Energy and not Starbucks was a mind blower for me, but it was very powerful, and if you're out there, congratulations. How are we doing here?
On my computer, so I'm trying to find the password.
Oh, trying to find a password. Okay. Got it?
Password comes down this.
All right, no problem. Everything's no problem. So, the next thing, let me share with you a little bit about my story in Herbalife and why I felt like I needed to come here. I think it's important. You know, back in the 90s, we had something called a hook product. You want to write that down, a hook product. And when this came out, this was one of the main things that took us from 100 to 1 billion. It's you took a tablet that in 20 minutes you felt it. And that went away. We went from 100 million to 1 billion in 36 months with this Wonder tablet. And when I drank the Verve, I was like, mind-blowing. This is the next big thing, because when you drink it, 30 minutes later, 20 minutes later, you want more. And so I was like, this is the next big thing, because you don't need to sell it, as you guys know. People come back and want it. And within literally days, you can start building an organization. When I put my organization into this, our center of influence started to blow up so fast that it overseeded what we typically do. And I'm going to show you some fundamentals and some sales funnel type things you can do today with utilizing the Verve. I really want to get this up so I can show you guys what's going on, but it's no problem. Here's what we probably can do real quick, okay? Could be kind of fun. Why don't you stand up real quick? Do we have any music? Can we put some music on? Turn to the side, grab your partner's shoulders and give him a little massage real quick while we're waiting for let's turn a little bit of music on if we can. Keep your arms up though. All right. Now switch. Keep your hands up. Not low. You can kind of shake your hands a little bit.
What's your freaking password?
There you go. Perfect. That's okay. There we go. Working now? Perfect. Here we go. Okay. Here we go. So let's start back with what's your why. We established that, right? So this is where I started from. Okay? Now, if I pulled up in that red car and said we're going to get rich, what would you have done? You would have probably ran, right? And I was up, my apartment was that top right window there, and I was about 19 years old, and I just remember, in Seattle, Washington, where I was from, I was like, gosh, something's got to change. Even though I was young, I knew I had to make a difference. I did not want to live like this the rest of my life. Matter of fact, I was so broke, I put air in my tire every day. I don't know why I didn't go get a new tire, but I was putting in air in my tire every day. But the one thing you never can do is prejudge somebody. See, if someone would have prejudged me right there, I would have been screened out. And my mentor said, hold on to me, and I did. So today I couldn't get the full picture because I kept walking backwards. I couldn't get the picture of my house. But today I have several homes. This is one in Scottsdale, Arizona, up on the very top cliff of the McDowell Mountain Range. And some fun pictures there. I have a gentleman but come every day and do just amazing stuff with stonework and all kinds of murals and all kinds of fun stuff. That red car? Well, I got really into a car collection. So you got the Murcielago Lamborghini up top. You got the Rolls-Royce Ghost, the Ferrari Spider, the twin-turbo Porsche, the Bentley four-door, the Bentley convertible, and then a convertible Lamborghini. So I love cars. And it was one of my passions. You may like horses or you may like other things. I'm just showing you this because the guy that started, had this. And I had to put air in my tire every day. And then someone taught me how to do presentations, and all of a sudden I stuck it out, and look what happened. Now, I'm not showing you this to impress you. I'm showing you this to impress upon you. Out in Scottsdale, yes, we do have water in Arizona. This is a lake here that I call Lake Pleasant. I've got one of these 36-foot offshore boats that when you fire it up, it's so loud you hit the deck. And, on the weekends in Scottsdale, we go out partying on the boat. It's kind of fun. There's a floating, restaurant right there, and it's fun. And then, I have my boat in the water at all times. It comes up off a lift. We've had incredible lifestyle vacations. I take my organization when they qualify on trips. I really love to have fun with my guys. We were helicoptered into this beautiful resort here in the middle of nowhere. And they put a 5-diamond fishing lodge way up in the middle of nowhere. And I mean, when I say 5-diamond, everyone's got a personal assistant. There's a chef for every 4 people. And you're literally flying to this old military airport, and then they helicopter you in by this 6-passenger helicopter. And I can't even explain it. It's so amazing. There we are out in the boat, one of my downline members who's now also in Vemma, who just hit presidential his first 60 days, and John and I. And what they do is they take you out in the middle of the ocean, and then they drag this tugboat out there to make sure you can come get your food if you want it, because you're in the middle of nowhere. So that was kind of fun. Beautiful vacation in the middle. This is Punta Mita in Mexico. You might see this in People magazine a lot. This is a 16,000 square foot house on the ocean, and it's pretty fun. I take my guys down there for relaxation, and it's literally right on the ocean. People come and rake the sand all the time, and I think that was kind of fun. We do a lot of leadership events like that. I took my guys on a cruise twice last year. I paid for everything. I run promotions for my guys, and the key thing is this: you got to build leadership. The more people know you care about them and not the money, the faster you're going to grow, okay? Constant getting my guys together, okay? Took them out in helicopter. This is actually in a Vegas leadership weekend I had about 3 years ago. We went up in the helicopters here in Vegas. And then I do a lot of leadership meetings like this, where I'll go rent mansions and we bring everybody in to paint the picture, okay? And it's really important to paint the picture with guys, because listen, I was in that apartment. I had no idea I could be in some elaborate location. So I'll go rent, like the one on the left there, people don't even know it. That's an 8,000 square foot room in the wind, 2-story. And so it's like 20 grand a night. And I went in there and got that for my guys, and we had a leadership meeting, and we, just got together, had fun, and that's what you do. Constantly building your leadership, constantly working with your guys. There's my office. This is in Scottsdale, Arizona. This is where I work, and I've been here for 7 years. I have a training facility right there in Scottsdale, and so on the left is where my desk, where I sit, and then I have call it my think tank, my boardroom there, and then distributors come through, or brand partners come through now and work in the workstations and all that kind of stuff. So, that's just all I've known. I've been groomed to constantly train my guys. Constantly get around your people, constantly break bread with your people, constantly hug your people, because people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care, okay? And that's a big thing you want to write down. Don't go after the check. Go after putting life into life with your people, okay? So that's I wanted just to share with you what's happened to me so far in network marketing. And I'll share with you, this is again how I met BK. This is kind of funny. What did I do? There we go. Okay, That was me on the right there. When I took off yesterday, that was me taking off yesterday on the right side. But I remember when I met BK, he said, yeah, Vemma's part of a jet partnership. And I said, that's cool. So I went down and bought into the partnership too. And so as a distributor, I was able to be part of the distributor. So when you guys are flying around the jets, have fun because I'm one of the partners too. So it was kind of fun. I'd never thought that I had on my dream board forever, like 15, 20 years to someday, be part of a jet group. And I just never thought that'd be possible until, BK said, write the check. And I went, oh my gosh. Jim Rohn always said, when someone tries to stretch you, let them stretch you, right? And so that was a pretty big stretch. And I went ahead and wrote the check, and I never looked back. And so I was, I've taken those jets all over the place on road trips and meetings, and it's definitely been worth its time. So again, this is where I started from, all right here. So I showed you that again, not to impress you, but to impress upon you that wherever you are in your life doesn't matter. Whatever you have doesn't matter or don't have. What matters is you've got a desire fire like none other, and you're willing to go out there, stretch and grow and follow directions. Okay? Now, I'm going to show you something that for me, when I was 20 years old, I was sitting in the audience of this training, and this guy said, listen, once I learned this, I went to $40,000 a month in 9 months. And I was like, oh my gosh. I was in the front row, and I was writing notes like crazy. Okay? And, the rest of the group was, coming in and out of the doors and stuff like that. But I was so hungry to make it and change my life. I started writing this down, and I went home immediately and started doing it. So here's what it's called, law of averages. Law of averages. So, we call them distributors where I came from. Same thing, brand partners. But we always were taught that you want to focus on trying to figure a way out to sign up at least 10 new brand partners a month. Okay, or a pay period, rank period. So here's how it breaks down. Okay, this is kind of funny, but this is the way law of averages work. Out of 10 people you sign up a month, the first 3, or out of 10, 3 out of 10 are people you wish you would have never met. Okay? They're complainers, everything's a problem. We all get it. It's the same person that we all get. The next grouping of 3 are people that are on and off. Right? 1 minute they're going to the Royal Ambassador, the next minute they disappear for 3 months, right? The reason why these people are so valuable is that they at least stay on the product because they come and go all the time, right? The next 3 are your players. You say go left, they go left. You say go right, they go right. Get to the meeting, they get to the meeting. Grab 5 guys for FaceTime, they grab 5 people for FaceTime. Whatever you say they do, they're hungry as a lion. Then the 10th person falls into one of the 3 categories. Now, what I noticed when I was first getting going, I wasn't doing the work to get 10 people signed up a month. And I would come to the meetings, and I would see people walking across the stage, and their check was exploding. And I'm sitting there clapping like, oh, unbelievable, it's unbelievable, I'm so happy. But really I was crushed. I was like, I'm spending all this time working and my check's not moving. Has anyone ever felt that? Okay? It's because you're not doing enough law of averages. Now, how you get people is how you get, I'll talk about that later. But when you get this down and you understand how law of averages work in your favor, it's not if you're going to make it, it's when you're going to make it. Okay? It's no different with anything in life. Dell Computer knows how many clicks they need on their website to get 1 buyer. You need to know how many signups do you need to get a player. So if you're the person like I was, I'd sign up 3 people and I'd ride them into the sunset, and then they'd quit. I'd get discouraged because I didn't know about this law of average deal. But if I just did the law of averages and served everybody the same, the people that wanted to work, worked, the people that didn't want to work, didn't, the people that were on and off, and my checks started to grow. And I'll show you my numbers here in a second, how I got to 6 figures a month in 3 years, okay? I'll show you with this law of averages how it works. This is something that a lot of you guys, this is abbreviated for numbers. It's called Synonola, okay? It's safety in numbers and law of averages. This is what we salute to in my group. Safety in numbers and law of averages. Now, it doesn't mean you sign people up and throw them against the wall. That's not what that means. What it means is to get a little bit of fire going in your organization, you got to have enough numbers going, or you're just not going to have the traction that you want out of your organization. And then the beauty of this is when you start teaching people to do the same thing, it goes totally out of control. So let's talk about how to build momentum, okay? Momentum is the art of this business. If you've taken and seen all the different courses, videos, audios, whatever, you've seen that we constantly talk about momentum in this business, okay? The key is to build momentum in 90-day spurts. And one of the things I always have done is I would work like a dog for 90 days, boom, and then I'd take like a weekend off, you know, go to the spa for 2 days, and then the third day I'd go write my goals back out, celebrate and fix. What did I do great? And what do I got to fix? Okay? What did I do great at? Oh, you got good at getting people to meeting. However, people weren't showing up all the time. I just dissected my business so I wouldn't just keep doing more of the same as more of the same. Law of, you know the deal. So you want to work like that too. Keeping momentum going, 90 days consistently leads to momentum and stays consistent. Okay? Never ever allow yourself to lose momentum. Now, when you've built enough business where you're personally enrolled, like here's my goal. This is how I'm thinking right now. I'm going to personally enroll 1,000 people here in the next 24 months. Me personally. I'm going to sign them up myself. That's my goal. Because I got to lead from the front if I'm going to be an example for the organization. Now you may do 150, whatever. I've already sat down, wrote out my goals because I went and talked to a guy and he said, listen, so I'm from Breakaway. I don't know about binary yet. I'm still figuring this deal out. Okay? So even though I hit Royal Ambassador, I'm excited. I'm humbled for it. I'm still figuring out binary and how this works. I've been in one marketing plan for 22 years. So Royal Ambassador in 82 days, as excited as I am in doing that, I know that I've got to get my numbers in alignment with the new marketing plan. So that's what I'm doing right now is creating momentum and then not losing it, okay? So one of the things I'm doing, we broke out about 15 or 20, I don't know what the number is, I think about 15 star presidentials and ambassadors in the last 60 days. So now what I'm doing is I'm taking that group of people together and we're focusing on building momentum and how to sustain it, which is what we're going to talk about in just a second here. So I always take it simple. Think of momentum as a farm pump. I think we can all think about how simple a farm pump is. I'm a city boy, so we went to the zoo and saw the farm pump. Some of you are country people and you had farm pumps on your farm because that's how you got your water, okay? So 1 month, this is the way pumps work. You got to pump like crazy for any kind of water to come out, okay? The trick of the farm pump is what? You go like this forever and you go, there is no water here, and you start to let go of the farm pump. That's your first 90 days of building business, by the way. You think nothing's happening. And then all of a sudden, you see no water, but the pressure's building, okay? Your efforts are filling the pipeline. That's your first 90 days building the business. Remember we talked about law of averages? You know, maybe the first month you signed up 4 brand partners. The second month you got, you started getting momentum. You got 7 signed up. And the next month you got your 10. But here's month 2. You feel some pressure building up in the lines. You start enrolling more customers and brand partners. You must remain consistent and don't take your hand off the pump. Month 3, finally water is gushing out of the pump. After 3 months, you've got momentum. And if you understand this, guys, this is MLM 101. All the legends in the industry teach this. And I was the one that wrote all these notes and just applied it to my organization. But when people understand it, they don't give up because they know success is right around the corner. Now, you have to be consistent about being consistent. Don't take your hand off the pump. Be consistent every day. Make sure you've got enough presentations day in and day out to have your sign-up goal. Now, YPR, you guys are good at this. But make sure, even though you're good at presentations, keep track of your numbers. Don't just do presentations and get excited. Start creating the metrics. Okay, it takes me this many people to talk to get 1 brand partner. Start writing that down. Because then you can teach it. Hey, you go to a college, you say, listen guys, here's my check. Every 3 people I sign up, I talk to you, I get 1 brand partner. You got to start seeing what your matrix are. You got to start writing that down. The second thing that does for you is it gives you the power to build leadership in your organizations. When you know your numbers and what's happening truly, you can start to teach your leaders what to go out and do. Secondly, what that does, it teaches you, what if it's taking you 10 presentations to get one sign-up? It's basically telling you you need to work on your presentation. You need to work on your personal development a little bit more. You need to work on your articulation. You need to work on how you talk to people. But the fact that you know what your numbers are, you can start to fine-tune yourself and win. Now, we already talked about that. Okay, duplication process. I'm going fast because we start a little bit late, but I want you guys to write this down. Establish your prospecting plan. How and what are you doing? Sampling, one-on-one presentations, lead generation. What are you doing to create presentations? Okay, you got to know that. Obviously, the FaceTime crew and the meeting crew, you know that. But like I said before, do you know how to teach it? What are you driving your people to? Okay, are you driving them to a video, FaceTime, a meeting, right? What are you driving your people to? Okay? You just don't want to go out there with your hair on fire and say, we're talking to people. How are you talking to people and what are you doing? Because once you establish that in your group, the art of the business is teach to teach. It's great that you can sign the world up, but if you can't teach it, it doesn't matter. You're not going to have a lot of traction moving forward. You may have a quick run, but when that run runs out and no one really knows what they're doing, you're going to lose. You're not going to sustain momentum. Once signed up, what's your training philosophy? You know, being in network marketing for 22 years, I've seen this where organizations just go like this, and they take off. People's checks are going through the ceiling because everyone's just excited. But guess what happens? All of a sudden, they forgot what their back end is. It could be very simple, what your training is. Maybe it's webinars at this time. Maybe it's hotel meetings on Saturdays. But once people are signed up, what are you doing to train them? Right? So you got to know what that is. And guess what? Every organization has a little bit different philosophy, but it's all the same thing. So what you don't want to do is when you see a group that's hot, don't go run over there and go, what they're doing is they're just working. So what you got to do is work, create your own momentum, and come up with these real basic duplication processes so your business can take off like a rocket too. Because this is what I know, because I used to be like an information junkie. Whenever I saw a hot organization, I'd pin the leader against the wall. What are you doing? I want to know everything. And it was presentations, you know, the right numbers, training the people, make sure it's duplicatable, and driving people through it. And I realized with all the different methodologies out there, it all comes back to the exact same thing. Okay? What the last thing was key is building an organization is keeping it duplicatable. You know, I've seen so many times, I was just talking to a gentleman out there, in the 90s, we did what's called mail order. And we sent out these little brochures, these little audio tapes in the masses, but we only had like about a 12-month run. Everyone was making 50 grand a month, 100 grand a month, 75 grand a month, 20 grand a month, 10 grand a month. And then once that wave was over, these people didn't know what to do behind the wave. So what you got to make sure you do is, because it wasn't duplicatable, it was just a quick run that was not duplicatable. So you want to make sure that your process is duplicatable. So these are some things you want to get together with your leadership team and just watch your numbers. The numbers you're looking at is what's your fallout ratio. You sign up 100 people, are you retaining 80? Are you retaining 50, 20, 30, 10? If you got 100 signups and only 10 people stick, you got a little problem with your duplication process. But you know what's great about it? The fact that you know that, so you know what to put the fix at. Okay? Uh-oh, we're timing out. This is why I don't like apples, by the way. I have apples in my office. I have two computers. I have an Apple and a PC up at all time, and the PC is always winning. It's really bizarre, because I was sold hook, line, sinker on Apple, but let me tell you, I did it again. That's okay. One of the things we've always learned is everything is no problem. You might want to write that down. So, duplication process, you can just revisit it again, establish a prospecting plan. What are you driving your people to? Once signed up, what's your training philosophy? Key is to build an organization that keeps duplicating. Now, once your group is duplicating, you want to have little quarterly leadership meetings with your guys. If it's just you and 3 or 4 people, you need to get together and kind of have like an S&P meeting, a strategy and planning meeting together. And when you do that, you start voicing and you start looking at what your true numbers are in your organization. Then you have something starts happening called edification. When you start edifying your guys, they start feeling like a leader, and they also become part of the draft. Okay, write that down, part of the draft. You guys know how geese fly in a V formation? This was explained to me a long time ago. It's in a V formation because that's the art of leadership. That last goose on the far right or the far left has a long way to go to learn how to be a leader. And the thing that I learned is I was that back goose for probably about 5 or 6 years. And then I went to the middle goose, and then one day it just naturally happened that I became the leader. So don't try to force yourself to becoming the leader when it's not your time. Be the person that's willing to hold on to your mentor's bag long enough and be mentored, and then model them, and then it will happen for you too. One of the things my mentor told me a long time ago, he said, make my belief your belief and run it up the flagpole. And so that's what I did. And as a direct result, obviously, it worked over the years. A couple things about that duplication process thing I shared with you. As a result of doing that, we've helped probably in my team about 200 plus people become millionaires in my organization. 7-figure earners. So it was a big deal by learning those basic steps to get people up over the hump to make sure that they can become millionaires themselves. $100,000, $250,000, $500,000, $800,000 a year earners, and it's helped a lot of people, keep organizations for the years. And this is something I want to share with you. Thank you. Yeah. So this is what I want to share with you. Got that. Okay, personal development. Write these 4 things down. Belief, strategy, bonding power, and communication skills. I train my guys like soldiers on this. We really get into personal development. Because here's the deal. If you don't work on you, it doesn't matter. When you get a check, if you're a negative Nelly when you're broke, you're going to be a negative Nelly when you're rich. Okay? If you're stuck up when you're broke, you're going to be stuck up when you're rich. Okay? You got to work on you every single day. I don't care what day it is. I do 20 minutes of personal development every single day. And the thing you got to first work on is your belief. Okay? Your belief. When I made a decision to leave my other company after 22 years, I had to have enough belief in myself and my team that we can make this transfer and not take a hit. And I got to give it to my team because I know they're watching on Ustream and they're all here and stuff. I had unconditional faith with these people that they could come over to Vemma and make it happen, and they did it without a hitch. And I just am so proud of them for what they've done. Strategies. People that succeed have strategies for success. Remember those 4 things about duplication? You got to have a strategy for your team or your run's going to be short-lived. Bonding power. You need to feel connected with other people. Okay? My guys have been with me, my leaders have been with me for 15 plus years. Someone tries to poach them. My guys don't look for other opportunities. They look for together, family. We're not in a deal, we're in for life. We're lifers. So what you got to do is you got to bond your people together. Communication skills. How we communicate to ourselves as others is very important. Write this down. Definition of communication is the response you get. I've lived by that rule for so many years. And when I talk to somebody and I don't get the right response, I say, Anthony, definition of communication is the response you get. Well, what did I want to have happen? I wanted them to sign up, or I wanted them to do X, Y, and Z. If I didn't communicate the right way to somebody, I'm not going to get the right response that I want. So in my personal development, these are the 4 things that I work on every day. Now, it may be I'm working on communication skills today, bonding power, whatever. I don't do all 4 at the same day. But when I do personal development, I really focus on what can I do for me as a person and what can I do to help others. And then I take on the day with that message. And this is important, guys, because listen, we're going to 1 billion. And the only way we can go to 1 billion here in this company is if we create true leadership. And I was hearing some rumblings earlier. One of the royal ambassadors came up and said, hey, will you talk about other people poaching people? I'm like, whoa, what are you talking about? Guys, we have to embrace each other. We got to feel so comfortable with putting each other in each other's meetings that when someone that's not in your organization comes, you got to put your arm around them and say, we're going to 1 billion. And not poach them. Okay? You got to say, hey, what organization are you in? Oh my God, they're unbelievable. You're so blessed to be in their group. Well, come on, sit down. Let's take some notes. That's how we're going to get to 1 billion. It's not, go sign up under your uncle's name and sit down and we'll work with you. That's not what we're doing here. And if that's the strategy and that's your thinking, first you got stinking thinking, but we're not going to get to 1 billion. Okay? This is why I came here. I saw it. Write it down. We're going to 1 billion. We're going to 1 billion. Okay? So, step up and go through the process. Let us groom you to be one of the next leaders. My commitment is to, one, learn from all the leaders that are here already, because listen, I have to take a lot of notes here. I appreciate all the kudos and stuff, but I'm new too. So I have to yield. I have to sit down. I must take notes. Even though I've got 22 years experience, it doesn't mean I'm the big dog here. I got to sit down and take notes to be part of this leadership group. And I'm committed to do it. And you got to be committed to do it as well too. So you can rise up and be one of the next legends. So in 20 years we look back, we go, yeah, I remember when we were at 100 million and we went to 200 million in 1 year. Wasn't that unbelievable? And guess what? We're already sitting at 5 billion, right? Because that's what we got to start thinking about. It's got to start now. So, here's your question. Are you ready to hit the billion? Okay, that's 200 million right there. Are you ready to hit the billion? Wait. Now, I want you to kind of think about some declarations that you can write down. I want you this weekend to put some declarations down on your own page. Think about, what do you want? Remember we talked about that in the beginning? What do you want? Write that down. Where do you see yourself ranking to here the next rank period? Like we're in week what, 2? Tonight? I got to go tonight, and I got to do a countdown call tonight, and I got to get some silvers and golds tonight for my hotel room. That's what I'm doing. Okay? Then I'm going to come down, and I'm going to enjoy the event and keep having some fun. But I'm still working while I'm here. Then we've got what, 2 more weeks, and then the next rank period goes. What are you going to rank to? You want to always be thinking ranking up. So what is that? Next, identify your guys down line. Where are they? I'm really starting to get this cycle thing down where I'm following, okay, I got 10 guys that are 50 cycles away from presidential. Grab those 5 or 6 guys on the phone, show them what they've got to do left and right, and we strategize like we talked about earlier. But that's what you want to look at. 1, make your own declaration. 2, what's that mean in regards to cycle points for you? 3, identify your key guys that are going for whatever it is, whether it's platinum or whether it's diamond or whatever it is. Get that group and bunch it together so you know what to go do and how to help. Because I'll tell you, that's made a big difference in how we've been working with our organizations, because we've never had to work on cycle points. It's just been straight volume. And now I'm starting to get the cycle point down. But the one thing I also want to share with you guys is part of leadership. You know, I know BK, I'm only a block away from corporate in my office. And it's funny because I got on the elite calls back to back, because I've only been here for 3 months. And I hear BK saying, hey, is so-and-so there? And no one's there. Listen, when someone's cutting checks to you, and the check is sitting there, and they're giving you an opportunity, they've got the products out the door, they've got your check on time, you need to salute them. This person's giving you an opportunity. You need to be on time. Your leaders need to be there. Okay? I know this, listen, if we're going to 1 billion, we got to clean ourselves up, right? Because he jokes around, he goes, oh yeah, they're probably just getting out of bed. No, not if we're going to $1 billion, we're not just getting out of bed. Okay? YPR, you guys get that? You can do it. You're the next legends of this industry. You're the legends. So you got to do what legends do. Get up. We know you do late meetings because I do them too. I don't get to bed till 1 o'clock. I'm doing meetings up until the bell says ding at midnight. I'm still doing meetings. I'm on the calls. So cross-respect. Cross-respect. You'll see a big difference. When you're there, guess what? Your 3 or 4 or 5 guys will be there. And then all of a sudden, the leadership will start taking into place. So can you make that commitment to make sure you're on time? Yes? This group said yes? Because I'll tell you, it makes a big difference. I was talking to Brad the other day, and he said, oh, gosh, that might be a little aggressive here. Do you realize that my guys, where we came from, we were groomed by the legends? If you were 5 minutes late, you wouldn't train for 90 days. So guess what? We got there on time, and guess what? We had to be there about an hour early, prepare, and make sure we were ready to roll. And if we didn't do that preparation, then we weren't preparing to grow ourselves and to grow our teams and to grow the company. So you want to do that. If you're really serious about growing your organization, you got to lead from the front, and you got to be the example. Because whatever you're doing is the example you're setting for your team. Okay? So it's okay whatever you're doing. Sometimes I know when I was 19 or 20, I was so excited that I had to get sleep because I was working, it seemed like I was working 24 hours a day because everyone said I'd never make it. They said, you don't know anything, you're too young, what are you talking about? This is a cottage industry, those things don't work. And it's funny because when I went back to my first 10-year high school anniversary, I flew in by a helicopter. It was unbelievable. They were all, guess what? Fat, broke, and in debt. And I said to one of them, I said, Tom, imagine if I would have listened to you. Unbelievable. I would have been broke like you. But you got to take the things that we're talking about here, and you're going to hear the rest of the day, and you got to make them your own. You got to make them your own. Little by little, you're going to see change in you, and you're going to see change in your organization. We're never going to be perfect, but you are going to see yourself strive for excellence, and you're going to see yourself become a whole different level of person. Okay? So, when we talk about grooming you, that's what I'm talking about. So just think about little dinky things. We don't want to go over the top because we want to have fun too, right? But just little things that help groom you to become a leader along the way. Because this is what I can tell you. When we're at 100 million, and I know we're on track for well over 200 million, there's things that we're going to have to be able to do. We're going to have to travel the world together. And we got to count on each other. And if one of you's in Japan and we got 1,000 people sitting in Japan and we're joking around about, one's not working on their mind and they show up and they just destroy the whole meeting because their mind's not straight, all that work we've done has gone down the tubes. And that's one of the reasons why we're going to make it to $1 billion here. We got the leadership of BK, the leadership of all the corporate staff, all the leaders here. It's like we're in perfect position to hit it. And let me share this with you. The 100 million that we just finished last year is called the sweet spot. And I don't know where this went on my presentation, but I want to share this with you. I want to show this to you. Let's see. I think maybe it got cut out. Yeah, it did. That's okay. It's called the sweet spot. In network marketing, when a company gets to 100 million, it's kind of like the safety zone, which means it stabilized its infrastructure, it stabilized its leadership, the products are flowing properly, and the overall basics of the company are primed like a pump and ready to roll. Like a tidal wave, that right before the wave goes over? That's called pre-critical mass. Pre-critical mass. That's what we're in right now. Pre-critical mass. And in the next 36 months, you're going to see the wave go like this to 200 million, 400 million, 500 million, and then $1 billion. That's how it works. And the people that go to work right now, even if you hang around the light pole, are going to get stinking, filthy rich. Okay? I'm telling you. I watched it. I've already been through it. Now I'm here to just help do whatever I can to further it. I don't know what the deal is with this, but there we go. So I just want to say, first, thank you for having me. I can't say it enough to this corporate staff here at Vemma. Listen, where I came from, it was like a war in that corporate staff. This is like the biggest family ever. I've never felt like this. The next thing, the distributors, the top leadership are so amazing here. They're so warm, they're so inviting that I just know with that kind of attitude, there's no question what's going to happen. And then, of course, we've got BK at the helm. Can you believe it? So, get on the mission of 1 billion, guys. Obviously, we're going to take our 200, our 3s, our 4s, or 5, but you got to start thinking 1 billion back here because you're going to hit a rough spot in your business. And when you hit the rough spot, you don't want to go, oh gosh, and start whining and crying. You got to be thinking 1 billion and break through the wall. Okay? Because that's where we're all going. So, thank you very much for having me here today. God bless you. Look forward to working with you.
Under a pale blue sky, you never felt